Alright friends, we're going to get this show going. So, welcome friends. We're going to get this going. So, alright, we got the stream going. Sweet. So, welcome everybody. We're going to be doing a, welcome back everybody. It's bright and early here in Los Angeles. Happy Labor Day weekend to those here in the United States. Let me just kind of get my camera angles going. There we go, friends. So, it is bright and early today, everybody. But I gotta get the stream out of the way. This is a client commission we've been waiting for a while. So, what we're gonna be doing today, folks, we're gonna be doing a client commission build in a Geon Frog Mini. I'm just building the internal assembly for the client today, but just for kind of demonstration and photography purposes after the stream, we're actually gonna be using my Geon Frog Mini case for this build today. So that's really cool. So want to kind of go through parts. So we're using DCS keycaps today. So DCS keycaps are awesome. So we're using DCS 9009. We're going to be using the Type Plus screw-in Cherry MX stabilizers for this. Since it is DCS, we're not using Alps pattern keycaps. In terms of switch selection, what we're doing today is we're using actually dampened Alps Tactiles, which is going to be really nice. So we're using Alps SKCM Ivory dampened tactile switches, which are going to be really nice, have a really nice feel for this client. They wanted kind of a more subdued, kind of a deeper sound out of Alps, so we kind of I told the client this is probably going to be your best option. And these are kind of really underrated switches, which are really nice. So we'll use those today. Also, what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be using, most of the time when I do Alps, I'm using aluminum plates. So the client specifically requested a palm plate, and there were some kind of specific requests that they had. So this particular client wanted split backspace, and they wanted a split right shift. So we had to have this plate specifically made. So a huge shout out to Careless for designing the plate, and then a shout out to Tom over at Hype Keyboards for having this palm plate made. Normally, I'm a big proponent of aluminum in Alps builds. This was something the client was really kind of adamant on and going with the palm plate. So again, it's a client build. We want to make sure we want to give the client what they want. And also the client, they're really used to 60%. So most of the time I'm doing full backspace, full right shift, just because we're really limited on keycap selection. But I told them if you're going to go with split backspace, if you're going to go with split right shift, you're going to have to go with the DCS keycap set. So that was something the client wanted. So we're going to track down a set of DCS 9009, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do that. We're going to get this assembly done, and then also too, the PCBs I normally use from Apple T don't support split right shift. They only support a full right shift. So what I actually had to do was go on Apple T's website and then get a different PCB that he has. So Apple T this is his waffling PCB. Normally I use his Steezy PCB. Again, same quality. This just has a little bit more layout compatibility for this particular build. So that's one thing that's really good. So we're gonna have all the compatibility for the client. And again, we're gonna make this exactly how the client wanted. So this build, I'll be completely honest, I've been sitting on this build for probably over like a month and a half. Because we again had a PCB ordered, we had a plate we thought we were going to order, and we were just all kinds of different changes and things like that. So whenever we do client builds, again, we just want to make sure that we're getting everything exactly the way the client wants. So again, this is the client's hard-earned money, and we want to make sure that this build is absolutely perfect for them. So this is going to be a really cool build. I'm really excited to get this to the client. And I think they're going to have a really good time with this build. This is probably going to be one of the more kind of unique Alps builds that I've done. So that'll be really nice. So we're going to put the Frog Mini case to the side because we're not really going to be working with this until the very end of the build. So let me remove these tadpoles out of the plate just so I don't want to get these damaged while we're soldering or things like that. So let me pull these out. And then once we get that, we're just going to kind of put the plate and the PCB to the side because we're going to lube our stabilizers. So we're going to have 3 lubed stabilizers for this particular build. So we're going to get those squared away and taken care of. So yeah, bright and early. So if I have anyone who's international, like cool, welcome, which is always fun. Like it's bright and early here in Los Angeles. I'd rather be sleeping, but I got to get this build I got to get this build built and get it shipped off to the client. So We're just kind of playing catch. It's been a really busy weekend on Alps builds. We did a personal build for me yesterday on stream, so we did my, oh god, it's so freaking early. So we did my Frogmany Passante build, which I finally had gotten together. Which was nice. And then we're getting this client, and we got 2 other client builds that we're going to mail out. And I also have some keyboards that I sold to fund other cooler keyboard projects that I got to ship out too. So a lot of packages we're going to ship out this week. So a lot of happy people that we're going to get stuff too. So let's get these stabilizers out and lubed up. So again, I also asked the client, what stabilizers do you prefer? And they said Type Plus stabilizer. So that's what we are going to go with. So we're doing plate mount. I'm going to just double check the thickness of this PCB, see if we need shims. We do not. Oh yeah. So let's get our screws out. We don't need our shims. We only need 3 stabilizers today. So we're going to get this one, and we're going to get 2 wires out for these puppies. Come on, come on out there. There we go. Okay, we got our 3 wires, and then let's get the housings. And then the extra parts we'll send back to the client because they did pay for this. Got those. Cool. Okay, we need 1 more of these little lower housings, folks, and then we're going to get going. Again, folks, the VOD of this will be on YouTube later today. So, this is my first time using Type Plus stabilizers. I'm normally a proponent of Durox stabilizers, so that's my preferred. Everyone has kind of their preferred stabilizer they like using. So, we're going with the stabilizers the client really wanted. So, let's put these to the side. Done with those. Put my PCB and also plate to the side too, just so we can have more space to kind of work with. Let me put this little baggie down here. Let's put our keycaps off to the side. Now we have a nice open work area to kind of work on. So let's get these stabilizer parts kind of organized, and we'll kind of go from there. So nice Type Plus. I've never worked with these stabs before, so I just got to make sure I'm familiar with how they work. So I'm just going to kind of play around with them for a second, just make sure I do it correctly, everybody. So, yeah, good times. Yeah, it's way too freaking early here in Los Angeles, everybody. I should be sleeping right now, but hey, we're going to get this build done, everybody. That's what we're here to do. And also behind me, you can see one of my OG Alps builds right there. So that's one of my restoration projects I did. So that's going to be at Keep Life. So yeah, Keep Life is literally this week. So again, Saturday here in Los Angeles. So if you're going to Keep Life, definitely come say hi. It's going to be a fantastic time. We're going to have so much fun. Again, I'm going to have most of my Alps builds on display for y'all to come see. So definitely come through, come say hi, come hang out, please. Just making sure I understand how these damn things work. There's one. Yeah, I'm just making sure this is a stabilizer set I don't normally use, so let's just make sure I semi know what I'm doing. So yeah, it's bright and early, everybody. So hey, happy Labor Day, everybody. If you're here in the States, it's a good time. Just making sure we got all these parts going right. Oh, fun. Where'd I put it? Give me a second. It's too early for this. Let's figure out these Type Plus stabs. Ah, fun. Alright, let's pull all these old buggers out. Let's figure this out. Okay, I gotta figure out how these damn things work, so it's okay. Oh, crap. It's too early, everybody. Alright, I semi-figured it out. So, yay. I figured it out, everybody. Look at that, look at that. So, yeah, it's early, everybody. I'm like half awake, so I'm definitely just going to go with the flow this morning. I'm just going to put these together just so I semi know how they work. So, and then we'll lube them. And don't worry, we're not putting bone stock dry stabilizers in this damn thing. We just gotta figure out how these damn things work. Give me a second. All right. Cool. All right, that's the wrong side. All right, I'm just figuring out everybody. Cool. And that one. And then one more. Cool. Oh, jeez. Put the wrong thing in. Hold up. Oh, God, these are tight. Holy cow. Yeah. Just making sure. I semi know how these work. So, fun times, everybody. Yeah, but welcome, everybody. It's bright and early here in Los Angeles. Way too early. Alright, cool. Alright. Wrong one. Oops. Okay. There we go. And you get to watch me struggle with stabilizers, everybody. Isn't that so much fun? So, and there we go. Okay, cool. I got it, everybody. I figured it out. There we go. Let's put these other parts back. Yeah, these are very specific, whereas like the ones I'm used to, just like you just stick them together and they just kind of go together. There we go. All right, figured it out. It's all good. So, all right, I'll just do one stab at a time and make sure I don't completely mess it up. There we go, friends. So we got our Tactile stabilizers in. There we go, friends. Okay, let's just do one part at a time. Good times. So, just getting these stabs lubed. Make sure they're not rattly. Because that's the last thing I want is sending the client rattly stabilizers. That would be bad. So, we're just going to make sure we get this thing nice and lubed. And then we'll get these, once we get these lubed, we'll get them soldered in, screwed in. And then we'll start soldering in switches. So, just getting coating on my wire. There we go. Okay, there's one side. Let's do this other side. So yeah, we're getting these stabs. Yeah, you got to watch me struggle for like 15 minutes on these damn stabilizers. Well, at least I know when I use these again in the future. Like, I know what I'm getting myself into. So yeah, but welcome everybody. It's a fun stream. We're getting this board going. It's gonna be a nice, fun build, and we're gonna have fun. So give me a second. I just want to put something on Discord. Give me a second. Give me a second. Just taking care of something on Discord as we go. So, there we go, friends. So yeah, that's pretty cool, but yeah. So, yeah, we're going through everybody, and we are having fun, and we're enjoying it, so. Alright, we got that one done, that housing done. Let's get this other housing, this inner housing done, and then we'll get some lube on that wire, and then we'll do our two smaller ones, and then we'll... Cool. Alright, let's put this inner housing in. Cool. And then we'll get our wire taken care of. Alright, let's get that wire in there. Yeah. Alright, 7U's done. Let's get our next 2U done. Cool. Alright. Cool. Alright, let's lube this housing, and we're going to get going. Cool. That one's good. Awesome. Getting that one going. Perfect. Got that housing. Let's do this other inner housing. And then we'll be almost there. Done with stabs, everybody. And we'll screw these puppies into the PCB. So we're only doing 3 stabs today instead of 5 because we're doing split right shift and we are doing split backspace. So the client really, really likes that for their workflow, and that's kind of what they're used to for their muscle memory. Like I'll be completely honest with you guys. Like I personally like full right shift and full backspace, even on a 60%. That's just my personal preference. And also just with Alps, unless you're using like DCS, like it's really, really hard to find that keycap compatibility that gives you that split right shift or that gives you a split backspace. There are original Alps keycap sets that do it, but your probably best option is going to be DCS. The thing that's interesting, I was talking on stream, because we just did a build with DCS 909 for another client build, and I said like as of the time of filming, it was still in stock at Canon Keys, and now DCS 9009 is now no longer in stock at Canon Keys. So like that was probably the easiest DCS Alps sets to get your hands on, and now it's no longer in stock. So like DCS Alps sets, I wish Signature Plastics would do another run, like an R2 of one of the original 6 DCS Alps sets, or maybe do another set, but the demand is so low, and I know Signature Plastics, like, MOQ is pretty high, and it can be pretty expensive. But I hope in the future, maybe, I don't know, I guess I'm giving myself an idea for the future. Maybe we should, like, see what a price quote would be for, like, a Signature Plastics, like, DCS, like a DCS Alps set it would be again in the future. I mean, the one set I would love to run again would be Pingmaster. If we could do a Pingmaster R2, problem is I have to find, like, 50 or 100 people who want to buy it. I don't know if there's not that many of us Alps fans out there at the moment, to my knowledge. I don't think there's enough of us out there to like justify a group buy with Signature Plastics. So who knows? We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk with Careless and see like, hey, would you be? Let's see if we could find some people who'd want to do it, because we would need a decent number of people to do it. But like, I would be down to like do a DCS Alps run again, Alps Keycap run. Because honestly, like I'd love to do Pingmaster or do something that's like we haven't seen before, like Alps Keycaps, like something like colorful, like something we see on like the MX, the GMK side in terms of like color selection. That would be really cool. That's just my 2 cents, but we'll see. Who knows? I don't know why I'm giving myself stupid ideas, but we'll see. We'll see, everybody. I'm just separating these housings, keeping them which one they go in together. But you never know, folks. But I mean, yeah, I would love to see another Signature Plastics run another set. I just know it's a very small niche, and we'd have to have enough people to actually justify it. Because I know commissioning Signature Plastics for like a run is not cheap. So, because I know they have to make their money, and we're paying them for their time. So we'll see. But yeah, we're gonna have this is gonna be a fun build, and then also for Key Life, I'll be doing another stream for a personal build probably on Tuesday. So tomorrow, we've been doing a stream every day these past few days for Alps. It's been pretty busy. I have a personal build for my GSKT00. So I tracked down a second PCB. The PCB, I have the original PCB that ran with the group buy, but it uses USB Mini B, and I honestly prefer USB-C. So I tracked down a USB-C solder PCB for that board. And what's cool about the GSKT00, its PCB came with support for both Cherry MX and Alps, which is really cool. So we're going to be, of course, building that with Alps, and we're going to be using some really cool Alps switches for it and a really amazing keycap set for it. So I'm really looking forward to like sharing that with y'all and letting y'all see that on the stream, because that's the last build I have to build for Keep Life. And then we also have another board coming that's going to be a restoration job. So we're getting an Apple extended keyboard. Most of the time when I buy Apple extended keyboards, I buy dead ones to like harvest parts. So I've been looking for the past few weeks, since I restored the Apple standard keyboard M0116, I want an Apple extended keyboard M0115 to kind of accompany that one. And I wanted one with orange Alps. I need to find a low serial number and find one that's in relatively good condition. And I found one on eBay for like $70, and from the description they said it was basically kept in a box for a very long time, and in the pictures it looks really clean. So I get that one in on Tuesday too. So we're gonna see like if the PCB works and all the switches work. We're definitely gonna clean it up and do a restoration job on that board, and if I can get it restored in time, we'll definitely bring both original Apple keyboards out for people to try out, because I know like within the keyboard space, like I'm not personally a Mac user. Like I'm a Windows guy through and through, but like, but I understand like the love for like Apple and people who are Mac people. Like, but when it comes to Apple, I love vintage Apple stuff. Like vintage like Apple stuff is awesome. Like old school old school Macintoshes from like the 80s and 90s, like old like iMac G3s, the ones that are like those like transparent ones. I mean, original Macintoshes, like, from the 80s are so freaking cool. So, like, I love vintage Apple stuff. And, I mean, these old Apple, like, Alps keyboards are I can say comfortably without question, like, the greatest keyboards Apple has ever produced. Like, I mean, the keyboards Apple produces today, for its computers are garbage. I mean, those like scissor switches they use like are awful. Like those low profile Apple keyboards. Like if you're a Mac person and you buy like a new iMac, like throw the keyboard in the trash and get yourself like a proper like keyboard. Like it just sucks that like that's what Apple prefers to use with their keyboards, because there was a time period where they made keyboards that were so freaking good. But hey, that's just modern Apple. They're different than Apple of old. But like definitely, yeah, if you're a Mac user, like definitely get a custom mechanical keyboard. And it's cool too because like a lot of, even if you're like a Mac person, like I know like the bottom row keys like Command and Option and all that crap is different than like Windows, Control, Alt, Delete, and like but you can get keycap sets that have like that Mac support, which is really cool. So I mean, you can also reprogram them too with QMK to make sure they're absolutely perfect for you. So we definitely give our Mac users love within the hobby. So, but yeah, I love old Macintosh stuff. Like I mean, I have a build with OG Macintosh keycaps, which is awesome. So, all right. So we have our stabilizers lubed. We're gonna close that up. Put the dielectric stuff away. Just wipe off my little lubey play thingy. There we go. Yeah, because I'll show you guys my like just like how much I like old vintage Apple stuff. Like, gotta pull it off the wall. But like, I mean, we built this earlier. We built this last week, but I've done a ton of client commission builds. Like I just did a client build a couple days ago. Like this is my Frog Mini Ligera with Green Alps. Like these are original Macintosh keycaps from the 80s with that awesome ABS yellowed spacebar. I just did a Tofu Redux in the client. We're gonna mail that one out. But like I love these Macintosh keycaps. Like they make just for such awesome builds. So, all right, let's get our. Sorry about that. Let's get our. Let's make sure our PCB looks good. Everything looks good. So, put our plate off to the side. So, yeah. So we're gonna get these mounted. So, I'm gonna put our. Getting these puppies fully mounted. So going with our enter. And then our 7U spacebar. Looking sick. So we'll get those out. Let me get my screws and washers out just so we can mount our stabilizers in. And then we'll be good to put our plate on and start putting on the first of our switches. And then we'll kind of go through our testing phase and making sure all the switches are good. So this is going to be a really nice sounding build, probably different sound profile to what I'm normally used to. So let's get let's see what screw type we're using. So Phillips, swap out for a Phillips head, perfect. We'll get a tighter one, perfect. Awesome. Let's get my spudger out too. We're gonna need that puppy. All right, there we go. Awesome. So let's just put our washers on these puppies and let's get these stabilizers screwed into our PCB. So yeah, I'm really excited for this build. This is a build I've been wanting to do for a while. There's just been a lot of delays and things like that with this one and just back and forth with the client. So I'm really excited to finally, we were able to like, the client was really agreeable, and they actually they understood like Alps take time. Like I tell people when I do these Alps commissions, like especially when we need to order the plates to be custom made, and then restoring the switches, and then waiting on PCBs to come in. It can be a several week long process, and then also too like I have a client commission build I'm gonna pick up this week for my Cerakote guy that's been there for about a month. So I mean these builds do take time. Like my custom like JO2 took about 2 months to do. So these are very, very long involved boards to do because a lot of these parts we have to have custom made or custom designed. So, and like I said, PCBs, Alps take their own PCBs, they take their own plate. So it's very, very specific in terms of what we need for these particular builds. So just putting the rest of these parts away, and then we'll put these back in the box, and this will get mailed back to the client. Perfect. Let's put these extra screws and washers back in our little stabilizer box. Perfect. All right, let's get these stabilizers screwed in. And then we'll just do a little bit of dialing in. So perfect. Let's get him going. So good times, everybody. All right. Cool, getting it going. What's up, Keep Helper? What's up, my man? So we're getting it going. We're doing Alps build today, and also it's like I'm like still like partial. I really wish I was sleeping, but I have to take care. I had to get this build built because I'm going to the football. I'm going to the soccer stadium today. So or football for my Europeans. I prefer to call it football, but I'm going to a soccer match today. So I needed to get this build done so I can ship it out this week. And since I'm busy later today, I figured might as well wake up early, get this build done. But yeah, so heading off to the soccer stadium with the family today, so that'll be nice. So nice little family day later today. So good time. So I just want to get this build done so we can get this off to the client. All right, cool. Awesome. So we got our stabilizers. So we got Cherry MX stabilizers for that one. I just want to put a little bit of lube inside the housings just to make sure that the wires aren't too rattly. Alright. Cool. I just want to get this my little. Nice, dude. Thanks, sir. Again, I really appreciate it. Again, I'm just here doing this for fun and just to educate people in the community. So, always a fun time. Just enjoying sharing information. Again, I do these streams just to kind of share the information with the community. I know some people who may be interested in doing Alps themselves may have questions on where to start. So that's part of why I like doing these. I started doing these streams is just to give people information and to just kind of put these VODs on YouTube and have these streams on Twitch just so like if I can inspire someone to do an Alps build themselves, that's awesome. Like, I would absolutely love that. So, so we have our 3 stabilizers here, folks. So, let me put our palm plate on, which is made by Tom at Hype. Make sure our alignment is all good, and we are looking fantastic. So, we're going to start doing switches. So, I'll start off with this set. I have a metric crap load of these switches. So, I'm just going to do some corners first. All right. There we go. All right. Just gonna do the sides. Let's get our split backspace in. This is my first split backspace build. This is awesome. So, got those puppies in. Awesome, we're doing our split right shift. We'll get our space bar in there. Awesome. And this is a Win keyless board for the client. So we're going to do our bottom row. I just kind of start off with these perimeter keys in the bottom row just to kind of hold everything in place, and it just makes testing a little bit easier. So there's our first set of switches, but you can see our split right shift here. We can see our split backspace for the client. Those were 2 things the client explicitly wanted in this build for just kind of with their muscle memory and workflow and whatnot. So that's really nice. So yeah, so we're going to get that going. So awesome. All right, we're going to fire up the soldering iron, and then we'll get these first switches soldered in. We'll make sure they work. Because I always got to test my Alps switches, so I'll get the soldering iron fired up. Perfect. Yeah, this should be a relatively quick build. So, Just making sure stuff is good. Let's get my soldering wick out. I got this spool solder I want to use up first, and then if I need to go to my new solder spigot. Alright, almost warmed up, everybody. There we go. Perfect. We're at full temperature. Let's get some of these in first. Okay, let's just cool, just getting all of these properly seated. Perfect. Alright, we're going to go to our escape over here. So we're just getting these soldered in. Let's do these corners. Hold them in, everybody. Cool. Just making sure we get everything properly seated. Then we'll go around and like properly solder stuff in. We're just doing 1 point so I can push everything down. Perfect. Let's do these inner ones here. So, just getting them going. Perfect. Awesome, that looks good. Let's do the ones on this side. Making sure that's seated properly. Perfect. Making sure it's all seated down. Awesome. Cool. Those all look solid. Awesome. We're gonna get this side done, and then we'll go and do the second solder point. So essentially, what I'm doing, whenever you solder switches, you want to make sure that this bottom of the switch is firmly flat. There's no space between the bottom of the switch and the PCB. So what I do is I do 1 pin, and then I hit the soldering iron, and I make sure I just push the switch down and make sure it's firmly against the PCB. That just affects your sound profile, and it can affect the height of your keycaps. So whenever you're soldering, you want to make sure that your switches are firmly flush with that PCB. So this is just one thing that I do with my methodology, and then I'll go around and do the second pin in terms of soldering. So where'd my solder line go? There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Got a couple more, and then we're going to go around and do it pretty good. Alright, perfect. Awesome. Looking good. And then we'll do our next one, folks. Awesome. Got that one. Awesome. Alright, all these are firmly attached. So that's good. I'm just making sure everything looks good. Let's see if I can push this one down again. This one. Yeah. We're good, friends. Alright, let's do the other pins on these, and then we'll go around and test these. Perfect. Spin my vent over here. Looking good. Cool. Almost there, friends. Cool. Two more. Just the Control and Alt keys, and then we should be good. I'm just going to wipe my solder tip off. Those are good. Okay. Looking. Cool. All right, we have those done. Give me a second, Reddit. What do you want? I got to reset the password of my Reddit account. Good times, everybody. All right, cool. So, just want to check the solder joints of all these. Just make so when we test, make sure every switch is done. Sweet. All right, got our first set of switches on here. So look at that, friends. So let's just go through and test those really quick. So let me get this plugged in. There we go. Get my little USB cable here. Where's my port? There we go. Awesome. Let's get this puppy going. All right, let's get VIA open. Give me a second. Discord, go away. Thank you. Let's go to VIA. All right, I got to program this PCB, so let's get its layout set up. So I'm going to go to Layouts. So 7U, backspace, we're going split, and we're going split right shift. All right. All right. Now let's, since we're going wing keyless, let's. Okay. I'm just gonna have the layers be blank for him. Let's set this one up to be tilde. Okay, so I'll have this. Cool. I'm gonna set this up as tilde. Huh. Give me a second. I want to look something up really quick. Give me a second. All right, we're going to set some stuff up. I'm going to set this up as an HHKB. Just to make, I'm going to put back, where's my backspace? Backspace. And this one we're going to set up as the tilde. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up our arrows. Up. Down. Left and right. All right. Think that should be good. Also, do we have lighting on this? Yes, we do. Awesome. We also have underglow lighting on this, which is nice. So we're going to go to our key tester now. So there we go, friends. Look at that. We got some lights. The client doesn't have a polycarbonate board, so it's going to be interesting. We're going to do our key tester. So I have the board programmed correctly. So let me just do some testing of these switches really quick. Okay, that one's being weird. Backspace is good. Enter is good. Space is good. Alt. Alt is being weird. Alt. These two switches so far are being weird. That's good. Tab is being weird, so I'll have to redo tab. So let me reset this. So escape is good. Caps lock is good. Left shift. Left control. Space bar is good. Right alt. Right shift is being weird. Our backspace right here is good. This one's good. This one's dead. So we're gonna do this corner one. We're gonna do. We gotta replace. Huh. Let me reset this and try this again. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's for sure dead. Okay, shift. I'm replacing this Alt. Tab is bad. Escape. So Tab, Alt, and these for sure. And then we'll come back and test. So let me get my, oh, I didn't get the solder again. Let me go grab that. All right, let's get this damn thing out. Let's grab this thing. Perfect. Grab my tools for this thing. Get this puppy going. All right, let's plug this in. Let's get this thing going. All right. Should be good. Yeah. Let me just check everything here. Yeah, we'll just grab all that crap out of there. Give me a second. Alright, give me a second. I forgot to clean the little chamber out, get all that crap out of here. Give me a second. There we go. Get all that old solder out of there. So, yeah, these are very much a process, everybody. Let's see if that that filter is still good. Perfect. Okay, let's put the chamber back together. All right. All right. Got everything heated up. All right, let's do this. These three for sure. So, let's pull them out. That one, and then tab. Sweet. That one, and then my Alt. Yep, had a clog. I don't know why this damn thing has been clogging lately. Wait a second, see if I can just... Give me a second. Alright, gotta pull the nozzle off and push that clog out. Just probably crap that accumulated from the other night. It's all good. So, the Hakko FR301 is a very finicky tool, but there we go. Just got a clog. Just had a bunch of crap stuck in there. It's all good. Alright, we're back in business, everybody. Good times. Good times. Alright, let's get that in. Sweet. Alright, let's pull that out. Alright, let's get these three switches out and let's swap them for ones that should work a little better. Cool. Pull this backspace out. There we go. That one, and then my tab. Cool. Alright. Let's put some switches in and just make sure that those are good. Awesome. Cool. All right, let's get the solder wick. Let's redo these ones. Cool. Just make sure that these are seated properly. Cool. All right, that one's good. Cool. And then these ones. Cool. Awesome. Perfect. All right, let's try those now. Let's see if we have a fully responsive set of switches to start us off. Oh man, look at that Pro Gamer RGB right there. Oh yeah. Good times. All right, let's reset this puppy. All right, split backspace is good now. Enter is good. Right shift. Those are good. Tab is good. Escape is good. Caps lock. Here's this one. Okay, let me just do a reprogram. Okay, and then that key works. So we're good. All right. Just go back here and fix that. Cool. All right. So for right now, we are good. Those switches are good. So that is awesome. So we have these switches are good for our outer perimeter. So we're going to do our number row first, and then we'll move on to our alphas. So just make sure everything is properly seated. Ah, look at that. It's starting to look like a keyboard now. So it really depends. So the transitive dead switches, I'll be completely honest, there's different switch plates. So it has the switch plate. I mean, hell, let me take one of these dead switches apart. I'll show you. Yeah, so it's interesting. So like I always my recommendation for rule of thumb for these is order more switches than you need, because you're gonna have some dead switches. It's just, unless the switches are in like pristine condition, which are those are gonna be really expensive. But this is the switch plate. This little, I'm gonna put over the way thing. So that little, let me just kind of So this part right here, that's your switch plate. Now this is a later switch plate, so this has a bunch of white polymer parts. The ones that I've experienced a very high failure rate are the older switch plates, which are going to have gray plastic. Those are going to find in like orange Alps, green Alps especially, and those are just older. Those are older production Alps switches, and those just fail. So my recommendation, if like example, if you're doing a 60%, my recommendation, get 80 to 90 switches. If you're doing a TKL, buy like 100, 110 switches. Just get more switches than you need, because you will most likely have dead switch plates. And also, if you're harvesting a board, always harvest full sizes. Thankfully, the older retro boards we harvest switches from are basically full sizes. That's just going to make your life a lot easier. The switch I've had the highest failure rate are going to be green linear Alps, and I had a client I picked up yesterday. We're doing 2 builds for that, an orange Alps and a green Alps build. And we're doing green Alps, so when I do that build, like green Alps are slowly, I love the switch. Building with green Alps absolutely sucks for me, because I have so many dead switches and I have to swap switch plates. Like, I have a metric crapload of green Alps. I don't have that. Like, I'll probably have to order some more boards in the future just to harvest for switch plates. So that's just kind of the nature of just Alps. You're going to deal with, I mean, these are 40-year-old switches. So you're just, this is the point of failure in Alps switches. Thankfully, swapping these out is relatively easy. So it's a relatively easy fix. Because pretty much everything else, there's like the housings, the slider, the tactile leaf, and like the spring, those don't go bad. It's this. It's the actual switch plate. That's the part with the pins that you're actually soldering. That's what goes bad. So I don't have a fix on how to fix them. My only fix is replacing them. And you got to get those from donor boards. So yeah, that's just kind of the thing. So that's why I recently picked up a multimeter, which was really cool. So I got my hands on a multimeter, which is really good. So some people within Careless's Discord server said like getting a multimeter can actually make the process of troubleshooting switches a lot easier. So I have no idea how to use this thing, so I've been watching some videos and reading up on how to use these. Like, this is my first ever time I've owned a multimeter, but I think just with like working on electronics, working on these switches and these old boards, because I also want to start getting into Alps board restoration of vintage boards. So multimeter, learning how to properly use this is definitely going to be my friend. So got one, so we're going to learn how to use that. That's going to make life a lot easier, so. Alright friends, we're going to start soldering these in, so I'm going to heat up the solder gun just so we can make sure. I'm going to try and suck up and melt anything that may be stuck in like my nozzle and whatnot. So I'm going to let that heat up for a second. And we're just going to make sure that whatever crap is stuck in here. I will tell you one thing about if you're getting into solder boards or you're getting into Alps, like especially like you're going to do a deep dive like me, and you want to do it yourself, definitely pick one of these up. These things are like $300, but they're so worth it. Like, I cannot imagine working on my solder boards or working with Alps without this particular tool. It is a high maintenance tool. Like, you're definitely going to want to get wear parts. Like, you want to get new chambers, new filters. You're going to have extra nozzles, and also be familiar on how to take this thing apart when you have to do like proper maintenance on it. But once you learn how this tool works, it's a really great tool, and this is my freaking workhorse. Alright, cool. Just wanted to suck up any crap, melt any crap that was stuck in the nozzle, so I had like cranked the heat up to like 1,000 degrees. So, there we go, friends. Alright, let's get this number row done. Let's get my solder wick going. There we go, friends. Let's get a good, let's just pull out the rest of this solder. Look, it's my last of this spool. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to start doing. I really wish there was a way to test switches outside of the PCB and whatnot without electricity going through them, but I can't really do that. So, but yeah, the multimeter is definitely what I'm going to do, and just kind of learn how to use the multimeter. I have a friend who has like his own like electronics and repair business, so I'm definitely going to be reaching out to him and just kind of get his 2 cents and just how to properly use a multimeter. I know it's probably relatively simple, but it's just something I want to do as I kind of go through my Alps journey and really kind of learn how this stuff works. I just want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence on making sure that everything is working effectively. So, all right, so we're going to put this number row in, and then we're going to kind of go from there. So we're going to kind of start off at the center and make sure that those ones are kind of properly held in place. Oh, let me get my vents going. Plug that in so I'm not breathing all this crap in, because I don't want that. Cool. Alright, let's just go across this line. Cool. I'm just making sure all these switches are kind of properly seated. Alright. Cool. Cool. Looking good, friends. So we're just getting this number row going. Awesome. Hello, friends. So cool. Awesome. Those are all in. Looking solid. Yeah, plate's in there. Cool. Alright, friends. We're going to go through and now do the rest of the pins. Give me a second, friends. I gotta enter this text. Cool. Sorry, I just had to answer that text to everybody. Where'd my thingy go? There it is. Give me a second. Alright. Making sure. Looking good. Yeah, coming along, friends. Coming along. I've been out here for a little over an hour, so Cool. All right, friends. Let's put this to the side. All right. So we have our number row on there. So I want to go through. We want to go put this into VIA, and let's test these switches. Where's my? There, I always forget where the USB-C port is. There we go. All right, friends. Let's open that up. Holy jeez! Why are there 7 notifications in Discord? Discord doesn't like me today, does it? So. All right, let's see. Here we go. All right. All right, friends, let's go into our switch tester. Everything looks good. Let's do our number row. Give me a second. Up 3. All right, 7's not being as responsive. It's being sluggish. So we're going to swap that. Like, I'm still getting a signal. Yeah, we're going to swap 7. That's just, I'm not getting the right signal I want out of that. So we're going to swap that one. That one's just being not the best. Alright, let's fire this puppy up. So let me just make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. Alright, we're going to let this puppy heat up, and then we're going to go through it, friends. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why that 7 wasn't working, but we'll see. We're warming up. There we go. There we go. Let's pull that one out. Alright, let's put in a new fresh switch. Should be fine. I have a pretty good success rate on these switches today, so that's pretty good. Alright, let's grab my solder wick. Let's put that number 7 in, and then we'll do another test. Give me a second. Cool. All right. All right, let's try that again. All right, let's reset this puppy. That 7 is golden. Is good. Backspace is awesome. the heck? All right, this alt I swapped out earlier is still being weird. All right, let me just reset. I may have to swap out a couple switches on the bottom. Yeah, I'm gonna swap out that alt, and this control is being weird. I'm gonna swap both of those out. So I just don't like that they're not as responsive. Okay, those are out, and then that control. Why is this clogging again? Bro. This tool's being like hella frustrating lately. It looks pretty good down there. Let's push the clog out. Hold up. Give me a second, folks. Alright. That should do it. So. Cool. Alright, let's put my nozzles on, let's put the chamber on, and we should be back in business. Yeah, we're good. Alright, let's pull those two off. Cool. Awesome. And don't worry, we got plenty more of these switches. I have like a metric crap load of these. Sweet. Alright, let's solder those in really quick. And then let's try that again. But everything else seems pretty solid. Cool. All right. Perfect. Let's see if we got some good contact. All right, everybody. So I think the switches we have done so far are good. Just want to fix those solder joints really quick. It's not, I mean, it's making contact, but I want to get that one right. Perfect. All right, let's put the solder gun away. We will be using this again. All right, let's put the tools over to the side for right now. All right, let's put in the main alpha cluster. Everything around on the perimeter is pretty much good to go. So again, I have a metric crap load of these. So let's get them going. So we're going to put the rest of the alphas cluster in. Oh my gosh, it's starting to look like a keyboard. Look at that, friends. That is awesome. So, looking really good. So, that palm plate is super, super sick. What's cool about this palm plate, you can see the machining marks on it, which is awesome. So, everything looks good. So, we're going to start soldering in these pins, and then we'll do testing and then swap switches accordingly. So, there we go, friends. Let's get this going. All right. This is a really good time. Let's do this. I'm going to put in the center ones just to make sure everything is properly seated. Alright, let me just push these ones down. Perfect. Alright, let's solder those ones in. Kind of have the center of the PCB held down, which is awesome. So that center portion is held down. So that is good. Well, all right. Plateless is kind of, here's my problem with plateless. So, Keeper Helper, that's a really good point. Here's the problem with plateless. Alignment with Alps is kind of a pain in the ass. You really need a plate. The only way to do plateless, you have to be very careful on how you align everything. But you can only use DCS keycaps because ceramic stabilizers are mounted to the PCB. If you're using like Tactile or original pattern Alps keycaps, you cannot go plateless because Tactile and original Alps pattern keycaps use plate-mounted stabilizers. So you can do plateless, but you have to plan very carefully, and you have to use one of the 6 DCS keycap sets with your build. So you can do plateless. It's just kind of a pain in the ass because lining up Alps switches without a plate really, really sucks. But I haven't done a plateless build because I personally prefer to have a plate, and I really don't have a board. I really just want to utilize plateless. So it really just kind of depends. Alright, soldering these in. Cool. That row is done. Looking good so far. Ooh, I have a bot in my chat. Look at that. Hello, bot. And we're just soldering the main alpha cluster, folks. Coming along. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Careless maybe has something or has worked on something. Because I know Careless has done some plateless builds. He actually recently just did a plateless build. So Careless would be the one to reach out to. I don't have a desire to do any plateless builds. I know. I'm lazy at the end of the day. Yeah, but talk to Careless. He would be the guy to talk to. That one's good. Almost done, friends. It's got one more row we got to do, and then all these switches look solid. And then we'll just test them. We should be good. Cool. All right, almost there. All right. Cool. All right, friends. Put that to the side. Let's clean off my soldering tip. We're not out of the woods just yet. We still got to test all these switches. But everything, it looks like a keyboard. So there we go. So we got our Alps assembly soldered up. We're not done. We still got everything for the numbers and the sides works. We just got to do the main alpha cluster. And then we should be good to go. Look at that. Looking pretty good, friends. Look at that. All right. Let's plug it in. All right. Let's test our cluster. Those are good. P is good. I'm going to swap out E. Yeah, letter E is being weird. K is being weird. Let me just write these down. So E, letter K. Those are good. All right, so just letter E and letter K are being weird. So we'll swap those out. And then I think we'll be good. We'll be on the home stretch. We'll put some keycaps on, put this in the case, and we'll do a sound test. So E and letter K. So we'll do letter E, and then K is like over here. All right, let's let that warm up. It's that third one right here. So I'll let this thing heat up, and then we'll get it going. Come on. Come on. Waiting for that red light to come off. There we go. Already clogged, really? Lord, really? I don't know what's up with this tool today, man. Like, yeah, I don't know what's been up with this one, but hey, it's fine. Yep, clog. Give me a second, I gotta pull this crap out. Hold up. Fun times, everybody. Maintaining this tool is so much fun. Alright, I think that should do it. So let's put the nozzle back on. Put the chamber on. We only got to do one more switch for the day. So, hopefully. Let's not jinx it. Okay, we got E and then K, so. Okay. Really? It already clogged again? Well. Fun, everybody. Fun. Alright, let's get these removed. Damn switch plates. There we go. That one. Cool. Yeah, we were pretty successful with switches today. So I will give this a success. almost there, friends. Another dead switch plate. Pull this out. There we go. Gotten really good at this. Cool. Alright, friends. Let's put in 2 fresh switches. And let's solder those in, and we should be hopefully good to go. Let's see what we can do. Where are you? There we go. Cool. All right, now let's try that again. Let me reset. Having issues with the letter G. Interesting. Hold up. Really? Already another clock. Lord, I gotta like properly take this thing apart today. Sometime this week, because this is my workhorse. Can't have this tool down. Yeah, there's just stuff stuck in there. We're gonna heat this up. All right, give it a second, everybody. She is being weird. That's why we thoroughly test these before we send them out to the client. Oh, wrong switch. I disassembled the wrong switch. That one's fine. Oops. This one. Fine. Yeah, we're having fun, everybody. Cool. Let's get these going. Cool. Alright, let's try a fresh switch for that one. That one's just not being as responsive as I would like it. Perfect. All right, let's try this again. I'm gonna swap out that E again. It's just I don't have that. I don't trust that letter E. Cool. That one's still not being quite right. Don't like it. So we're gonna make sure where this is 100% right. Cool. So what is that last one? I think we should be good. Cool. Let's see. All right, I think we're good. I think we are good. All right, we're good, friends. We are good. Put these ones away. All right, I'm gonna put, yeah, so these are my switch plates that were just faulty, so yeah, I don't know. They just have a high failure rate and they really annoy me. So let's pull this over here. But yeah, everybody, there's our assembly right there. So that's pretty good. So this is a Steezy waffling PCB from Sweden. We have Alps SKCM Ivory dampened tactiles. We have Cherry MX stabilizers, Type Plus. We have a palm plate, and we're gonna put DCS 9009 on this. So this is really nice. So really, this came out really nice. It's a really nice assembly. I think the client's gonna love it. So these are really fun switches. So let me just put this. Yeah, we got a clog here. Let me just unclog this damn thing before we, yeah. I'm probably going to have to tear this thing apart. So, yeah. I think I'm just going to put this away for the set for right now. This thing needs to be properly deep cleaned. So I'll probably deep clean this after stream. I'm not going to bore y'all. I know, success, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Keep Helper. So, success. So, let me just put some of the tooling away really quick, just to clean up my workspace. Give me a second. Let me just put some stuff away since we're kind of done with those. Put the screw bit tools away. We'll get DCS out. Alright, cool. So for right, we're pretty much good to start putting keycaps on. We're going to put the keycaps on and then we'll put this in the case. So there we go, friends. So I have the case right here on the side. So let's get our DCS 9009 out and we're going to put it in. So a fun thing about this is actually my personal DCS 9009 keycap set. I have the client set is on the way, so it'll be here probably by the end of the week. So I'll start off with our stabilizers. Perfect. Let's do our left shift. Perfect. Let's find our enter key. Here's our backspace. Let me find caps lock. Here's our enter key. Here's our tab key. Awesome. Let's start putting keycaps on. Start finding some of our other modifiers. Alt. Control. But yeah, looking good. Let's get our other control over here. That one. Here we go. Alt. Or Alt-Ger. And then let's find our smaller right shift. Here we go. Split right shift. So that's what we're doing here for the client. Split right shift. So there we go. Let's find our function key. There we go. So function. There we go. Our split right shift. That's what the client wanted. And then we'll start putting on some of our letters. Looking good. Hold up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. It's coming together, friends. Not that one. Coming along. It's starting to look like UI. Let's get our brackets on. But yeah, it's starting to look like a board, everybody. J, K, L, A, Z, O. We're not using. Okay, let me just plug this in really quick. Let's see how I program this. Give me a second, friends. We are almost there. Where is my H? There's that one. Here we go. H and P. And there we go, friends. I want us to do a quick little test. I'm going to put the rest of these keycaps away because we're not using these. But it's starting to look like a keyboard again. All right. Let me just get the switch tester fired up really quick. Everything looks programmed correctly, so that's nice. Let me just turn my lighting off because we don't need these. All right, let's go to the key tester really quick. Awesome. Perfect. Why isn't my control working? Give me a second. Huh. That works. Why is that not working? Just testing everything again. Okay, that control is being funky. All right, we got to decipher that control. I don't know why that's being weird. That key, for some reason, isn't working. So, all right, it's okay. Let's get the desolder gun out, and then let's do that. So I don't know why that. I mean, this is why we test it. I'm not gonna send this to the client unless it's absolutely 100%. So. That is okay. Plug this in. Let's get that in. Let's heat this up. Give me a second here. We're gonna get that control fixed. We're gonna get that switch going. Yeah, that's why we test. But everything, we had a pretty good success with switches today. But yeah, that assembly looks great. DCS 9000, I mean, just 9009 in general is so good. I mean, I have DCS, the DCS Alps version. I also have the GMK 9009. So it is just such an iconic, classic looking set. Yeah, we're just kind of seeing if we can melt all the crap that's in here. Still a decent clog, so hopefully with the heat, this on high heat, this should be working pretty good. Give me a second. Nice things we do. It's a pretty decent clog. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, 9009, I love it. I mean, it's been made by like a million manufacturers. I mean, it's literally just beige, but it's just such a good, iconic set, and like literally every keycap manufacturer across time has made it. So, really, really good set. So, I love it. That's why I have two of them. Let's pull that out. Let's get my spudger since we're on the edge. Cool. Cool. That one is good. Let me just pull that solder out of these holes. Cool. Awesome. Let's get this installed. Perfect. Gotta pull up a new thing of solder, so give me a second. Just got a bunch of solder in the other day, so I'm going through a lot of solder between my personal builds, all the Alps crap I do, and then the commissions. I'm going through a lot of solder wire. So, oh yeah, dude. I mean, I have a bajillion beige sets, dude. Especially on my like GMK side. I have like all the major GMK beige sets. Cool. All right, let's try that again. Reset this. Yeah, I don't know why the switch was working earlier, but now it's good. Alright, let's just put the keycap on and let's just do one last final like test of everything. Okay, alts are good, spacebar is solid. Right, shift. Yep, function key. We're gonna double and triple check everything for this client, as I always do. Alright, we are good. Alright, let's put all the tools away now for good. And let's get the board, let's mount this in the case and do a final sound test. And then we'll get off of stream here. So let me just put the tools to the side. Let me get the desolder gun put away. So let me put the switches out of the way. We're done with keycap, pulling keycaps. Yeah, so I gotta deep clean this thing later today. It's probably time for a tear down of that thing. Alright, let's unplug it. There we go. Let's turn off my soldering iron. We're done with that. Put the vent to the side. Alright, friends. Let's just light this up. Let's get the case out. Let's get my screws and everything. Tadpoles. Let's get these tadpoles mounted. But yeah, this is a really Really nice board. So I'm really excited. Again, we're just building the internal assembly. This is my personal DCS 9009. This is actually I have a set on the way for the client. So when that gets here, I'll take, again, I'll put their set of DCS 9009 on this. And then we'll mail this assembly. Because the case too, this is my personal Frog Mini case. One of the things I do with Alps commissions or Alps build commissions for people is I usually ask them, like, what type of boards do you have in your collection? Because if you have a board in your collection that we can convert to Alps to bring costs down, I can just build you the switch, plate, and PCB assembly. And then I just mail you that, and then you just drop in the Alps assembly into the board that you already own in your collection. So that's one thing that's been really nice. Like, I had a client in Singapore, they had a Frog Mini. So I told them, like, you don't have to send me your Frog Mini just to save shipping costs. Like, I'll just build you the PCB assembly, and then that's what I'll mail to you, and that's worked. So I've done that for a few clients, where I just build them the assembly, and I have so many boards on hand in my personal collection, just for the purposes of building on stream and like cool product photography. I can build them in my cases or using my keycaps. So we can just get like some nice photographs and like promotion for the builds we're doing. So that's just something to note. So this 9009 set normally lives on my Geon F1 8X 722. But for the purposes of this build, it was going to go on this. So it'll go back on my 722 once I get all the product photographies of this board and post them online and whatnot. So putting the tadpoles in. There we go. Cool. Sorry about that. Okay, we got our tadpoles in. Let's mount this in the top case. Make sure we get the right orientation. Cool. All right, let's put it in the top case. Connect the cases, and then let's screw this all together. Let's get out my screwdriver. Cool. Oh, gotta pull the feetsies off. Perfect. So let's get these screws in. We'll put the feet back on. We'll get a sound test of this puppy. So I've actually never done an Alps build with. Yeah, dude, I think it's really good just to build the internal Alps assembly. So like that's I've compiled a list, a Google Doc. Like, so I usually just share with people. It's just based on like what plates Careless has created, and the doc is always growing as people do it. Like, for example, like. My client, I have a client from Ireland who reached out, who commissioned me, who signed on to my build commission calendar yesterday, and he has a Key Colt number 265, and he tracked down the Alps PCB for a Key Colt number 265. So he's actually having me build him. He has 2 of these PCBs, so he's gonna have me build 2 Alps assemblies, one with green Alps and one with orange Alps. So when I get the PCB from him. Because he has to mail me the PCBs. I already ordered the plates from Tom over at Hype Keyboards, and I've already sourced the Alps switches and the other parts we need for that build. So that's gonna be a really cool build, because I really didn't know there's not many. To my knowledge, there's only a couple of boards. 65%. The reason we haven't really made PCBs for them is it's kind of a keycap compatibility is kind of a pain in the ass, especially with the navigation cluster column. I mean, so yeah, but here we go. So yeah, it's going to be a really cool one. There we go. Sorry about that. Just throw that to the side. There we go, friends. Look at that. So here is my client's Geon Works Frog Mini. So this is a really cool one. We had to get a specific PCB and plate for this one. So because the client they had two really specific needs for this board. They needed split backspace, so we got split backspace, and we had split right shift. That was a kind of a deal breaker for them, so we wanted to make sure that we accommodated that, and we built this board exactly how they wanted. The Frog Mini that they have on hand is actually silver, so mine's blue. But just imagine these keycaps with a silver Frog Mini case, and these are going to look fantastic. So, and they also wanted a palm plate, and they wanted switchers that gave them a little more of a subdued / deeper sound. So after kind of playing around with my Alps switches and just kind of seeing, this is why we decided on white Alps SKCM Ivory dampened tactile switches. So they're a fan of tactiles, and they wanted something a little more subdued. So this was what we were going to do. So let me just see how everything feels. Oh yeah, really good. Really good palm plate. So I want to plug it in and do one last test, and then we'll do a proper sound test. So let me do that. But this looks really good. So the nice thing about these PCBs too, they're fully VIA compatible. So when the client gets it, they can set up all the layers, they can reprogram stuff, and set up the board the way I have it set up like as an HHKB. So that's why the split backspace is the / and the tilde, and the backspace is right here, and function is set up to get arrow keys with WASD, but the client, once they get it, they can reprogram it to their liking. So let's just do the switch tester really quick. I'm just going to go through and test everything properly. So far, so good. We're just like quadruple checking everything. I do not want the client to get it and have faulty switches. So we're making sure everything is stress tested and everything is good. Perfect. Function works. Control is good. Alt. Spacebar is solid. All right. We are good, everybody. So this board, 100% good to go for the client. So I'm really excited. Let me just close VIA. I am very happy with how this board turned out. So the Geon works Frog Mini, I think, for 60%, regardless of which Frog Mini you go with, like whether it be like the standard Frog Mini, the Frog Mini Ligera, or like if you want to go truly insane, you can go the Frog Mini Passante. I got all three Frog Minis. Probably one of my favorite 60% of all time. So great platform. So I think if you're going to do a 60%, this is just a fantastic option. This came out beautiful. So I'm very happy with how this came out. So let's, I'm going to adjust my microphone. We're going to do a sound test, and then we'll get on out of here. So, God, we were on here for over 2 hours. Good Lord. So let's put this in. All right, friends. So here we go. Sound test. All right, friends, let me just move my microphone back up. That is great. I think the client's going to be very, very happy. This was a very specific build we wanted to do for them. So, again, my friends who tuned in, thank you so much. As you can see up in my top corner over here, again, all my socials are there. So the VOD for this build stream will be on my YouTube channel a little later this morning. But everyone, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and stay safe, everybody. Have a great day.